On today's episode of Cornbread and Crap Boxes, we're going to see if we can get this truck that's been sitting for years back in shape and running again. Welcome to the channel. Here behind me, guys, sits a 1986 F150 that's been sitting for over 10 years. Let's see, let me count them up. That's been sitting since 2009, and I think you can tell that the evidence clearly states that. I went and picked up this truck, and my plans with this truck was to fix it where it was at and then drive it home. The lady who owned the truck and sold it to me told me that she wanted it off the property. I just went ahead and had somebody I knew bring her home. Now she's been sitting in the driveway, and we're going to see if we can get her running again. I mean, it is a 300 6-cylinder. They're pretty tough. Maybe we can get it running again, maybe not. So guys, if y'all would like this video, make sure you subscribe so that way y'all can get some more of this cornbread content. It's pretty good. I mean, halfway decent, if you could put up with me. Another thing, guys, is I can't control the weather, and it seems like every time I try to film, the wind starts blowing. All you can hear on the other side is so I do apologize for the sound. We'll do my best to fix it. So looking over the old pickup, you can tell she's got some cancer. That's all right, it can be fixed. Got a little bit down on the door, but one thing about these Fords is usually the rockers stay intact when everything else falls apart. The cab corner is okay, but when you open the door, she's blowed out. She's got the typical rust. I don't care what anybody says. All these Bullnose trucks smell the same. I have bought 3 of them in my lifetime that's been sitting, and every time I open up the door, they smell like stanky gym laundry and some old lady's basement full of mothballs. I don't know if you could tell, but the seat's blowed out right there. The inspection sticker, or the county sticker, I think it's the inspection sticker, says 2010, but the inspection sticker says 2009. So I'm gonna say that's when they took it off the road. The odometer says 23,109 miles. Now that is a 5-digit odometer, so we don't know if there's a 1 in front of there, or a 2, or a 3, or it's been tripped over. Armrest is in good shape. The window seems to roll down just fine, and from what I can see, there's not too much wear on that one or that one. So I'm gonna say this truck has 123,000 miles on it. Now the body, it's decent on this truck. I've had these Bullnoses, and man, something about these trucks, basically all trucks in the 80s, is they just rust. They must have got a bad batch of metal. I don't know how it happened, but they just rust. Most of them have rust holes blowed out where the shock sits, and usually the back half behind the cab all the way to the back of the truck. The cross members that run across the middle of the frames are usually blowed out or ain't got no structure. And from what I can see on this truck, all it has is surface rust. No pitting, no places ate out or nothing. Now I want y'all to look at that bumper. It's not dented or pushed in or rusted out. It's splitting, but that's not that big a deal. We could take this, clean it up, and paint it, and this bumper would look nice. I do have one rust hole in the tailgate. This is what worries me. Ew, got an animal. Hopefully we don't find a human body in here somewhere. So the only place I'm worried about it being blowed out is right there. The rest of the truck that I can see, I don't see no holes inside the bed. We do have one dent right here, but I figure a man could take a jack, maybe a 2x4, and jack it up and push that up right there. It's the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. Come inside, we'll have fun inside. Do-do-do. Now, she did leave me the toolbox, and honestly, it is a pretty clean toolbox. I'm probably going to take it off, clean it up, and I'm going to try my hand for the first time at polishing one of these and see if I can bring some shine back to this. Let's see what we got in here. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, well, are you going to hold up there or not? Oh, got a shock. That's the first time seeing that. Now let's see what we got here. Ooh! And it's full. That may be a bad sign. Let's see, huh? What is that? Aluminum cleaner. Let's see what else we got in here. Oh, it's empty. That ain't no good. Cans of paint, straps, some kind of trim, just a bunch of miscellaneous stuff sitting in here, but we'll go through that. Over here is not as bad or not as blowed out. I always seem to find the driver's side of the truck worse than the passenger side. It does still have some rust. Ooh, a flashlight. And a pair of vice grips. Oh, and they work. I don't know what that is. Water bottle. Ooh, a tape measure. Needle nose pliers. What is that? Tamper base proof. I have no idea. Let's see what else we got in there. Oh yeah, your typical mouse nest, rat's nest, paperwork. Oh, padding on this one's pretty good too. Oh, yep. Rolls down. Oh, a little rough coming back up. Let's see how this works. Oh yeah. This truck right here doesn't need air conditioning because you have these. Some of the older generation knows what I'm talking about. Maybe some of the newer generation, I highly doubt it. But these were a godsend on a hot day, because a lot of times when you roll the window down, the wind doesn't necessarily hit you in the face, but you can get that angle just right. It's the best thing to have on a hot summer day. They should still put these on trucks today, as long as they're not leaking. If they're leaking, they suck. This side of the truck has probably got the most vegetation. I mean, it looks like it was trying to go a garden or something like that. This one comes standard with the Uniroyal Laredos. She put these tires on it right before they parked it. One thing that sold me about this truck was how clean the wheels are. Lock-in, lock-out hubs. Best invention ever for these old pickups. I hate an automatic hub. Every time you take them apart, they always blow all to pieces, and I always end up switching them to that. So I'm glad this one already has it. Let's see what we got here. Ducks. That ground cable don't look too good. Not a lot of junk over here, or junk over there, or plastic that covers the whole engine. You just have an air filter, carburetor, motor, a thing to deliver the electrical juice, the thing to deliver the fuel, the cooling system. That's pretty much it. The thing about these old trucks is you can work on them yourself, and you don't have to worry about taking them to a dealership or taking them to a garage and them working on it for you. That ain't blowed out or cracked. That's a good thing. Oh yeah, don't know what color she is, but she's sealed up. I don't see that she's leaking down behind there, but we'll find out whenever we go to press on the brakes. So I think the first thing I'm gonna do, just to make sure that this thing ain't locked up, I'm gonna take a wrench and I'm gonna put it on the crank and I'm gonna turn it just enough to see whether she's locked up or not. Plus that helps with the other parts in case they're stuck. A lot of times when you hit the starter, these engines, if they've been locked up for a while, because sometimes they could set up, moisture gets inside of them, what they'll do is they will damage more parts hitting them with the starter than if you was to put a wrench on the crank and turn it slowly. Gets everything moving easy. So I went and got this can of Seafoam. If you've ever used this stuff, you know that it works really well. Not so easy on the pocket, but I would rather pay a little bit more for something that I know is going to work versus something that I know is not going to work. Because then you just wasted your money. With this stuff, you're not wasting your money. The good thing about this stuff is you can add it to your oil. If you want to try to get some sludge down, you can add it to gas or diesel fuel. If you got a carbureted vehicle, you can just run it down its throat hole, clean all the valves and the piston and a little bit of the intake, and if your spark plugs are gummed up, and you don't need to use all of it, you could pour half in the carburetor, half in the tank. Well, where's it at? Well, I don't know where it says it, but it treats up to a bunch of gallons. Yeah, that's about good enough. Probably should have left that off. I gotta put gas in it. How am I gonna expect it to run? Now, before I start wrenching on her, I think I'm gonna check the oil and see how much we got and see what it looks like. Okay, about half a quart low. It's got a little moisture in it. I can tell by the end. Or it might be some gas. Sometimes these mechanical fuel pumps, they go bad. They'll just dump all kinds of gas in your oil. This one looks fairly new, but that also means it's from a parts store, which also means it has a 50% chance of being bad from the parts store. I'm just gonna put this back in here, pretend we never seen that. If we can get this thing turned over right quick, see if she'll turn. I'll stick the battery out of old trailer trash Tammy. I don't even know if this ground cable will work. You've seen how bad it was. If we can get it to turn over and fire and feed out of its own fuel, we'll go ahead and change on the oil. We don't have to have a place to work on that. Yeah, it's nice to have those things. But you could do this right out in your driveway. All this stuff. What are you doing?
I want to see that baby toy.
But as I was saying, it don't take much with a bunch of these old vehicles. Wrong size. That never happens. Nope. Wrong size again. If I don't have the right size, I guess I won't be doing it this way. Which I really hate, but it is what it is. She turned a little bit. Maybe this motor had been cranked on the time it'd been sitting there. Now what this hillbilly's gonna go ahead and do is he's gonna go ahead and put some fuel in the gas tank, so that way whatever's in there can go ahead and get rejuvenated and lubricated up, clog up the mechanical fuel pump that I got. Now what I really hate is these spouts that come on these gas tanks. They just ain't right. I've been over there filling this thing up with gas for the past 10-15 minutes, and it's still a third full. Now this battery probably ain't got enough cranking amps to properly turn this thing over, but we're going to try her anyway to keep from me having to spend that money. A lot of times when you got a battery sitting around the house, if the post will fit and if the cables are long enough to get there, it might can get you started. Then you get your hammer and just make sure she fits down on there real good. Ooh, got something drawing power. It just sparked. No wonder the key was switched back to radio on, truck off. See? Fits. Well, I don't see nothing happening. I don't see no smoke. I don't smell nothing weird. It smells like burnt rubber. Well, it's the first one of these hoses I've seen with the clip still on it. That was frozen. Dang, crusty. I've rebuilt one of these carburetors before, and rebuilding a carburetor ain't as bad as what you think it would be. Motorcraft 1 barrel. Oh yeah. Might even have an accelerator pump. She's moving pretty freely. The carburetor looks pretty clean on this thing. It just might be a reman. Either that or been took care of, probably not. Or somebody's took it off, cleaned it, and put a rebuild kit in it. I'm gonna go with the first and the third option. Second option, not so much. I'm gonna get in here and crank on this thing, see if it'll turn over with the battery that we got. Make sure that our starter is still decent. Usually when you open the door, these Fords like to go, but I ain't hearing it. Here we go. Look at that. Shakes like I'll get out. I don't know if all the pistons are hitting the same. It was like, we might have one that needs to be brought back around. I ain't got a way to test and see if we have spark. We'll either know or we don't know. We might need to go in there and clean up those points and look at the cap if we ain't got spark. I'm gonna take off the number 1 spark plug, see what it looks like. Oh, it wasn't that bad. Got the auto lights, the cheapos, model number 45. They seem to be pretty fouled, caked with deposits, but honestly I've seen worse. These smaller jugs, they even put a worster, more worse, more terrible fuel spout on it than the other one. What you gotta do is you gotta push this up and push this forward. Stupid, but that'll be all right. Oh yeah, just enough. You cannot beat these old 300 6-cylinders. And did you hear how quiet she was? The exhaust ain't even loud. We're gonna have to change that. Well, I'll be darned. That's all right. Just to make sure we're not pulling a bunch of trash from the fuel tank, since I'm not dropping it. I got an inline fuel filter. I'm gonna take this rubber line off. Got some new fuel line. I'm gonna snip it in half and put me an inline fuel filter. Now I don't much care for the fuel filter that I got, just because of the fact that it's metal and you can't see inside of it. As long as we're getting that trash before it gets to the fuel pump, and it'll be fine. This fuel filter kit came with the filter, the lines, and some terrible clamps come from Get in the Zone, Auto Zone, made in China. I'm not picky about my parts stores. I'll go to Get in the Zone, or I'll go to O'Reilly's. So what I'm telling you is, don't be afraid to shop around and look for the better deal, but also don't skip out on the quality just because something is $5 or $10 cheaper. Always use your surroundings. I felt too lazy to go grab a pair of pliers, so I just took these vice grips, and they work real well for grabbing a hold of these clamps and not letting go, so that way you can wiggle them off these lines. So never throw them away, always put them to use. I think I'm going to leave this rubber line here, and then I'm just going to install the filter right here, and then use that extra little bit of line that I got and just attach it right into there. So if I ever need to, I can use it to my advantage and maybe put a second fuel filter in line there, just to, you know, maybe catch all the trash that's coming through the tank. That line was apparently smaller than 3/8, so I had to fight like the devil to get that on. I'm gonna get that clamp, if I can, slid up over there, and if I can't, I'm gonna cry and then take it back off and put one of these other clamps on it. Then I'm gonna take that side and I'm gonna slide it over here, and I'm gonna clamp it on, and I'm gonna run it so that way it stays out of the way of the belt. I got a bottle with a hole cut out in it, and I'm gonna try my best to get as much through that vent tube right there to get it down in the bowl. And I'm gonna tap the side of the carburetor just to adjust it a little bit, get that valve in there flowing, make sure it ain't frozen up. And then I'm gonna pour a little bit of gas in the carburetor and see if I can get her running. All right, so here's the moment of truth. Just enough. Let's try throwing a little bit more. Here we go. Try to get in here, pumping on the throttle a little bit. I don't know if that fuel pump's any good. I don't know if that accelerator pump's working or not. It's done before. I got an accelerator pump. I don't really know if I'm pulling fuel just yet. It was wet up here when I changed the line, but now it seemed to have quit. I don't know if the sock in the tank is plugged up. The mechanical fuel pump just decided to quit working. I'm gonna keep on trying it. All right, so from what I found, just not wanting to fire how she needs to, I'm gonna take this line off of this fuel pump. I'm gonna see if I'm getting fuel. What are the dogs barking at? Gosh, they bark every time the wind blows. So I'm gonna use little man's help today. I'm gonna see if I can get him to go in here and turn this switch, and I'm gonna watch out here to see if I see any fountains. Right there's on, and then you turn it forward. When I tell you to stop, you let off, okay? Don't do it yet. All right, stop. So what I'm gonna try now, I'm gonna take my gas that I got in my bottle, I'm gonna put it in the line, and I'm gonna let it work itself down through. If the fuel pump is good, then whenever he turns the switch, then it's going to push the fuel out. That's going to let me know whether or not the fuel tank, the line going through there is stopped up, or whether the pump itself is bad. Okay, get in there and hit the switch again like I told you. Stop. That really ain't a good sign for me. I was not wanting to have to take this gas tank down. I'm gonna pour the rest of what I've got in the tank. I'm gonna prime this line back up. I'm gonna hook it back up. I'm gonna see if we can get it fed off of the tank again. And then we're gonna try one more time. So that's pretty much almost 5 gallons of gas I got in the tank. If it don't run off of that, then I know we have some kind of plug from the mechanical fuel pump back. All right, here we go. Number 6. Timing might be off a little bit. That's all she wrote of that battery. Gosh dang it. I'm gonna take that fuel line off the mechanical fuel pump. I'm gonna blow back, and I'm gonna see if I can get any air through. If I can't, I know the sock is plugged up. I'm beginning to think I might have some carburetor issues, or maybe the timing's off, because it keeps on popping back through the carburetor, and I don't know if it's a lean pop. I don't know if it's timing related or fuel related. So the good thing is, the pickup sock is not stopped up. Still wondering why it's not pulling fuel up here to the mechanical fuel pump. I think I'm gonna go ahead and get 5 more gallons of gas because I think that tank was bone dry. And I think that might be part of the reason why it's not pulling fuel up yet. Okay, so I'm back from the store, picked up a few parts, and I'm gonna show you what I got going on here. I got fuel in the fuel filter. It's pumping out of here. Get ready, try it again, and see if I can run it off of its own power instead of me pouring gas in the carburetor. Number 7. All right, here we go. Come on. This has got some stupid speakers that somebody has wired up and just left hanging here. Gosh, I swear some people ain't got no brain. Come on now. Okay, so I think I'm going to resort to changing out the spark plugs, see what that does. I already took the cap off. It looks decent. I might have to mess with the timing. Somebody could have been in here messing with it before. It looks like it has a newer distributor on it. The spark plugs don't look that new though, so I'm gonna change on them, see what that does. So I got it figured out. The missing problem that I had was a couple of the spark plugs were fouled out, completely wet. Probably my fault for dumping too much gas down the carburetor, but they needed to be changed anyway, and I had them sitting around. So I went ahead and changed them, put the cap back on, started it up, and now she runs like a sewing machine. Runs good. But anyway, I think that's all we have for today. Make sure you like, share this video, subscribe so you can get some more of this cornbread content. I want to thank Zayden, my little helper, for helping me today. And he done a good job. He listens pretty good, and I think he learned a little bit. You at least learned how to cut on the truck, didn't you?
Yep.
Yep. Turn the switch. Yep. Anyway.
We'll see your fellas later.
See y'all.